Gentlemen, welcome to Auckland Airport, where the local time now is 2:30 in the afternoon.
It's been a long haul to get here, and while I may have touched down in New Zealand, I'm not quite there yet. Throughout the global pandemic, New Zealand has had very strict controls. Its borders have been shut to all but essential workers. Fortunately, the America's Cup fits into that category. But it doesn't matter who you are. If you've been allowed in, you've got to do 14 days quarantine. So here I am, holed up in my hotel just outside Auckland Airport, biding out my time, just striking distance from downtown Auckland. Now, fortunately for me, the expert photographer Giles Martin-Raget has been out on the water filming some of the training that's been going on. And one of the first things that struck me was Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. What have they been doing to their boat? This was what the bow looked like when they launched the boat originally. And this is what the bow looks like now. That looks different to me. What's that blade running down the centreline? We know that shortly after launching their new boat, it went back into the shed. So have they modified the bow? Certainly looks like it. Those of us who were down here in 2002 will remember they did a very similar thing with their Cup boat then. But elsewhere, the focus at the moment has been very much on manoeuvres and crew handling. It stands to reason getting around some of the corners on the course is going to prove crucial in the heat of the battle. And the Italians have claimed that they're particularly good at manoeuvres. That's punchy talk, especially as the chatter seems to suggest that the Kiwis are pretty slick through the turns themselves. Barely any time on two foils, and why would you? Two foils means more drag just when you don't want it. Understandably, there's been plenty of focus on the defenders. This, after all, is the boat to beat if you want to win the America's Cup. Mind you, from what I've seen, all of the teams are much more polished through the turns than I was expecting at this stage. Just take a look at American Magic. Also, now they're on the water and sailing, it's easier to see just how different their boat is to the others. Look at how different that stern section is. And then there's Ineos Team UK. One interesting feature that we hadn't seen up until now is that all of their grinding crew face outboard, while the two afterguard cross from side to side through the tacks and jibes. Not everybody does this. Not everybody has been operating like this. Take Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli for example. During training they've had their helmsman Jimmy Spithill on one side and Francesco Bruni on the other. Perhaps that's why they're so punchy about their boat handling. But overall, what's starting to become clear is that it's very hard to make any kind of meaningful speed comparison at this stage. For a start, we can watch, but we don't know what they're trying to do. Plus, it's one thing to see these boats flying along in a straight line at full bore, but the angles that they have to go through to get there can be very deceptive. Such big deviations won't necessarily be an option on the racecourse. We're going to be looking at that in some more detail in the future, along with a look at the foils, because I know a lot of you have been asking about those. Plus, we're also going to be looking at what the race format is for the America's Cup World Series, which is only a matter of days away, what the format of the racing will be, and what constitutes the Christmas Cup. In the meantime, here's a video that caught my eye about the detail that goes into the data logging behind the scenes.
On these boats now we have a lot of software running on the race boat, both kind of systems that are running live and stuff for doing analysis and trying to understand how we sail the boat and look retrospectively at how we're sailing the boat. So we have these performance-based tools for analysing our sailing, using that to validate our simulator. But then there's also more and more software running on the boat that is sort of mission critical in flying the boat. Everything from a wind sensor, which is obvious and easy to understand, or a heart rate monitor, or a cadence sensor on a pedestal, cadence sensor in a winch, on a drivetrain. There's these kind of things that are quite easy to picture. But then there's also optical systems to capture sail shapes, ultrasonic ride height sensors to measure how high we are above the water. So the data on its own is quite hard to interpret, and we're recording literally like 1 billion data points in a day. So you're kind of drowning in that data unless you've got a way of drilling down into the thing you're interested in. And one of the ways that we do that is this session-based replay where we can go and look at a manoeuvre or rank a load of manoeuvres by some metric to decide which ones are the best, and you go and look at them and then you can compare. So this is our kind of video data viewer, and we can jump to any point in the day, see the notes from the day sailing, choose a number of variables we want to look at. I think we're up to 6,800 individual sort of data channels that we're logging on the boat. So it's more and more software is becoming a critical part of keeping the boat sailing.
Till next time.